Hi guys, this is Rampant FM, and today we're going to do something a wee bit different. I'm going to be rating the Scottish Wonderkids that I have managed in FM21. It's just going to be a bit of an overview, a bit of my feelings towards the player, how well they performed for me in certain saves. It's not going to be everyone, it's not going to be every Wonderkid, because I've never managed them all, but I have a good few that I have managed. Every game's different, I've noticed, in Football Manager. Some get to their potential, some don't. If you've managed any of these guys, just let me know how you got on with them as well in the comment section, and certainly let me know. So we'll get right into it. So of course we're going to start with Billy Gilmour, who is the highest rated in terms of potential in the Scottish Wonderkids. He was probably my favourite player in FM20. He was so consistent, so great for me that I really enjoyed playing him. I tried to get him on loan from Chelsea every save. And it's kind of been similar this season. The only thing that I've kind of discovered is he's maybe not as good. It seems strange to say because obviously his potential is a lot higher, but I think what they've done is the player's probably slower to get to that potential because it has been raised. It could be, the other factor is that he's injured at the start of the game, so it's maybe that might be a factor, but certainly I don't find him as consistent or as good in terms of current ability after a few seasons as he was in FM20. Still a good player though, so I'm going to give him 4 stars. Greg Taylor of Celtic, he's a decent left back, but considering Scotland have Andy Robertson and Kieran Tierney, I don't think he ever gets to those levels. I've had him in some saves, and he's just only ever really been a squad player, and he's kind of like that at Celtic in real life. I do believe he has decent potential, but I don't think he ever gets to the levels of being like a really good, first choice left back if you are going to be like a higher end English Premiership side. And for that reason, he is 3 stars for me. Aaron Hickey of Bologna, who used to be at Hearts. Again, I think he suffers similar to Billy Gilmour in some respects. I think they've raised his potential, so it takes him longer to get there. But certainly from what I've experienced with him, the fact that he can play both right and left back kind of really adds value. If you are only sort of coming in as a squad player to a better team, he's still quite solid, and he does have that potential of maybe even getting as good as Kieran Tierney and Andy Robertson. So 4 star. Alan Campbell of Motherwell is an interesting one for me because sometimes you can get him for a free basically if he doesn't sign a new contract to Motherwell. I think it's hit and miss if he does. I've seen him go to Arsenal quite a lot. I don't know why. I don't quite play his roles. I always usually go with a deep lying playmaker or Mazzala, and he's more of a sort of ball winning midfielder, but he's done really well when I changed him to Mazzala. Again, I think he's got the potential to be at least a decent sort of option in the English Premier League, and he's pretty decent. And one thing I have noticed is he doesn't seem to get as many yellow cards as he did in previous FMs, which is an advantage also. So 4 stars for Alan Campbell. Robbie McGrory, so the Rangers keeper on loan at Livingston, pretty solid, pretty decent, potentially a decent English Premier League goalkeeper. I don't think he really becomes like a top goalkeeper in my opinion. I've never really seen it. He's solid, he's consistent, but for me he has to be a 3 star because he doesn't sort of reach that next level. He's pretty decent for a backup. If you're a top Premier League team, then I don't think he'll ever be sort of first choice goalie for you. Unfortunately, I can't rate his brother Ross because I've never managed him in the game, but I'm assuming it probably will be similar in terms of his ability. He's probably only going to be like a 3 star if you're an English Premier League team. Mikey Johnson kind of suffers the same as sort of Greg Taylor. I only ever found him being a squad player for me. I brought him in hoping that he could maybe sort of push, but I think I was in the 2nd or 3rd season and it was pretty much like he had reached his ability, at the age of sort of 23, 24, and you kind of want them to still improve, to be sort of at their peak at like 26, 27, and I think he suffers from the same sort of thing that Greg Taylor does, where he doesn't quite become a leading sort of winger for our English Premier League team. The fact that he sort of can play in different positions, again, kind of like Aaron Hickey, it makes him quite useful if you get him in to begin with, and he's only a squad player, but for me he doesn't progress enough, so I would say that I have to put him as a 3 star player. George Johnson of Feyenoord, I think he starts on loan at Wigan. This is going to be a surprising to some, but I actually thought he was really solid. I had him I had him on loan in my Rangers save, and he was really solid. It was actually quite surprising. I was expecting him just as a squad player, but he done so well that I actually had to put him in my team. In terms of technicals, he's not great. He's kind of sort of middle on a lot of the attributes, but if you kind of work on him, and especially his physical stuff, acceleration. I play quite a high line, so having a player with decent acceleration or a centre back with a wee bit of acceleration is really handy. And the fact that he can sort of cover left back as well is another decent thing, and that's why he's going to get a 4-star rating for me. Liam Morrison, for me, I think I got him after his contract ran out, which I think is the sort of going into the third season. I don't progressed as well those first 2 seasons. If I had got him earlier, he might have progressed more. But again, similar to what I said about George Johnson, his acceleration is good, his agility is good. There's certainly a lot of potential there. It's maybe the fact that I've just maybe got him in too late, or I haven't really seen it, built the player up myself, basically. Again, I think in terms of his potential, it's definitely there. But I've not seen it, so I'm going to give him a 2-star, because I still believe if you're someone like me that only plays maybe 3-4 seasons, he's probably not worthwhile to get in as a squad player if you're only going to be playing sort of 3-4 seasons into a save. He's probably one, because he is one of the younger guys on this list, to be fair, he's probably one for a long-term save. Nathan Paterson at Rangers, another sort of younger player. I'm going to rate him right away and say 4-star. He's really good right away. I think I had him in my youth team. I don't think I loaned him out, and he progressed really well, and he was pretty much hitting first team first season. That was in the English Championship, one of the Championship sides I was managing. His physicals are really good. He's highly rated in real life. Yeah, 4-star for me. He's pretty much similar to Aaron Hickey in the sense that he can pretty much play everywhere. You can even retrain him at centre back, but certainly the right back position he's fairly solid in. Kieran Bowie was solid from my experience with him. He's always pretty decent. I think one of the things about him is that he's sometimes quite hard to get. Like Fulham always tend to just loan him out, and they often aren't willing to sell. And if you do try and get him, his price increases almost every year, like every sort of decent young player. So that's probably a drawback, that he is quite hard to get. But no, he was good, and the fact that he can, as I said, different positions, attacking midfield, up front, or right mid, decent. His attributes are probably not as good as some of the other guys on this list, but if you sort of can progress him further, again, I think it's another one because of his age where it does take a few seasons, 3, 4, 5 seasons until he's properly into the first team, unless you're a sort of lower end sort of team, I would say. But yeah, worth a while. I have seen his potential firsthand, so I will still rate him 4-star. Chris Mockery of Dundee United, similar to Kieran Bowie actually, but I actually think he's a wee bit further along from what I've seen. If you get him to the right team on loan, or actually give him first team opportunities, he does turn out really well. And again, the fact that he can play multiple positions really helps him out. In terms of his attributes wise, there's probably not a lot there to really like amaze you, but in my experience, he's still really decent, and he turns into potentially a really decent Championship / going on to the Premiership type player. But because of his age 17, again, I think it takes a wee bit longer. So bear that in mind. But again, yeah, 4-star for me. I've only really had him in one save, and it was just sort of a wee tester to see how well some of these players do. I thought he was pretty solid for me. I was playing sort of lower end, sort of English League 2 standards, so I think it's harder to tell if he can really make it in the higher standards, but certainly done well at that level. Again, he's one of the younger boys. The one thing you probably look at there is his jumping reach. You could probably work on his head in a wee bit, but certainly the determination of 18 on his stats bodes well. I'm going to put him as a 3 because I've not really seen the potential myself, but I think it's a 3 going on a 4 for Lewis. Probably my favourite Scottish player in the game. He is, I think, our first 5-star because he's kind of like Billy Gilmour was last year. He's still at a young age, but if you're giving this guy game time, he becomes really good really quickly. From my experience, I was playing him in the English Championship. Pretty much, I don't think we had a lot of cover, or I can't remember exactly why he was getting a game, but he I was playing him at mainly, I think, deep lying or Mazzala, like the two midfielder roles I play, and he was getting game time, and he was pretty much a championship or English championship player after one season, which is amazing. So to me, he's like the FM21 Billy Gilmour, despite probably having less potential than Billy Gilmour. But yeah, Finlay Robertson, my favourite Scottish player. I think he's, for me, the most consistent. As I said, Billy Gilmour, like what Billy Gilmour was last season in last year's game. Yeah, 5-star, first 5-star, but he won't be the only 5-star. So the next 5-star is Leon King of Rangers. Brilliant, he can play anywhere across the back line and in defensive midfield. If you play it, you pretty much can get him for a free. If you're probably a better sort of rep team or playing in a better league than Rangers, you can't offer him a contract right away and sign him. So that's one of the other reasons that he's pretty much a 5-star for me. His stats are, you look at his stats and you're probably thinking he's not that great, but I tell you what, he's solid, he's consistent, and even if you're a sort of top Premiership team, yeah, look to sign Leon King. He's a fantastic player. In terms of his potential, he's really good. In terms of his current ability, again, if you're an English Premiership team, probably chuck him in your, under 23s or your youth teams, and he'll probably be one of the standouts every week, or certainly was for me. And as I say, again, it's another case of, I think, Finlay Robertson, where he can get to his potential quick if you're giving him a game here and there. James Graham of Rangers as well. I think his potential is really good. I've not seen him out, again, because of his age. He's only 15, so it's another one of these long-term ones. But I have seen him do well, League 1, League 2 levels in England for me. So yeah, he can get goals as well, and that's what you want from a striker. And I think it's just the fact that it will take a while to get to that potential. Him being probably I think he's the youngest on the list that we've discussed. But yeah, he can be a goal scorer, he can be really good. It's probably a wee bit harsh, but I'm going to put him at 3-star. But I think, again, he's probably a 3-star, moving on to a 4, depending on how long you play your saves. If you're playing a sort of longer save, you should definitely consider getting James Graham in. Sam Campbell is a difficult one. He's one of the younger players. The problem with Sam Campbell is the fact that his current ability is probably lower than anyone we've mentioned on this list. It takes him a long time to reach potential. I think it's difficult to get him to even that potential, because if you do get him at a decent English Premier League team, he's probably not good enough to play for your under 23s and your under 18s. But if you loan him out, he still might not reach that potential. It's very hard for this player to reach that potential, mainly because of his current ability. If you put him to like a conference team in England or a lower league sort of Scottish side, he probably won't ever get to that potential. And the fact that it takes him so long as well, I'm going to have to rate him, unless you're doing like a really long-term save, I'm going to have to give him a 1, unfortunately. I think he's our only 1-star. There is potential there. He just lacks the ability. Even for his age, he's kind of behind everyone, and you would really need to improve him and focus a lot of time and effort while trying to get him games at an older age, which is also difficult. So it would take a mastermind to get Sam Campbell, I think, to reach his proper potential where he could be, where some of these other guys we've talked about get to either fairly quickly or after 4 or 5 seasons. I think with Sam Campbell, you'd probably be talking maybe double that in my experience. So, difficult one. I do like Sam Campbell, actually, but I think it'll take too long for him to get there, for him to be worthwhile to someone that's maybe only doing a 4-year or 5-year save. I think you need more time with him than that. And that's why I have to rate him as 1-star, unlike the other guys who can do a wee bit better and get to their potential ability a lot quicker. So something a wee bit different for the channel. Hopefully you enjoyed it. As I said at the beginning, please let me know if you've managed these players, if you've managed to do a wee bit better, or certainly if you disagree with me, if you rate certain players a wee bit better. I'd love to get your feedback. Doing a fair bit of content lately on the actual game. I'll probably continue to do that, but certainly I'll be back with more FM editor videos. I really do appreciate all the support lately. I appreciate all the comments. There has been people that have commented that want to see certain things in terms of the editor. I will try and make those videos. I'll get round to them. But as I say, I appreciate the support, and I'll be back soon.